Hi friends, hope you're having a lovely day today. Today we're going to be going after this sort of look, this very cool look, and actually end up making the shadows a bit green, doing some fun things with the toning. I hope this brings you value in your Instagram or, MySpace. I don't discriminate. Post-processing workflow. Okay, let's get started. So the first step I'm going to take is turn on profile corrections to get rid of any of the vignette that my 50mm lens does create. And then I'm going to turn on the grain, put it at 20, and then put the size at 50. That's my sweet spot for grain. And then we're going to go up here and we're going to get started with a little bit of contrast and exposure and what have you. So I'm going to pull the curves up if they'll cooperate with me. Pull the curves up right there. Crush the highlights in the curves just a hair. And then I'm going to pull the exposure down just a little bit, just like so. And I'm going to pull the white balance over just a little bit. And that's going to make it a bit more green. I like my photos to lean a bit more green. I think that film tends to have that characteristic to some extent in a lot of situations. I'm going to pull the saturation down a little bit. Put that at about, let's hang out about 19. And that may change. But now we're going to go into the most important part of this entire process. Now that we've got a nice curve, nice contrast. The photo has done a lot of the work for us and will continue to do a lot of the work in the toning, the color toning of the photo by preserving this sort of cool color, which is something that I want to create. And it's going to allow me to, you'll see this in a second, it's going to allow me to play with a few different some interesting techniques to make the highlights maybe a little bit more warm, like these headlights, and then and still preserve that cool tone. So let me pull the blacks down just a little bit, just like so. Okay, and then so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna pull up the shadows. I'm gonna put this slider at was it 114, 115, 45. There we go. Oh boy, we created an error. What have we done? Perfect, right there. And then I'm going to pull this back to probably 15 or so. And then we'll pull this over to probably about 55-ish. Awesome. It's looking a little bit too muted for me. So I'm going to pull the saturation up just a hair. I want this to be a rather colorful image. I'm going to pull the shadows up a little bit to liven up the dark parts. It's important to note that the blacks and the shadows they affect the photo quite differently. It's a good thing to pay attention to. So now I'm going to take the highlights and put them at around 45. I like my numbers to be perfect. I'm going to put them around 45. Is that something anyone else does? Is that just me? I'm assuming that we have a lot of people who can be number sticklers out there. I think that's a creative thing, but I think that's also a person thing. What does that mean? So we're going to now put this at 15-ish, maybe. Now it's a little high. I don't know. What do I want to do here? What do I want to do? I'm going to pull this back a little bit. So we're going to put this at 10 again. Because I want this, these highlights. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to take the luminance and the color saturation, hue, and what have you in the blue channel and make that pronounce itself a little bit more, and that will give the sort of blue contrast in the road to the warm highlights of the headlights that I'm looking for. You see pulling the hue over makes it feel a bit more teal, and you can see that it achieves the desired effect. So maybe now we can pull it up to 15, or are we going to leave it back there? We may have to compensate a wee bit more. That's interesting. Okay, we'll leave that there for now. That's quite nice. And we're almost there. It does feel a little bit. What happens if I go back this way a little more? Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, because it's feeling a little bit yellow to me, the overall image, and I don't want to combat that. Okay, and then let's actually take the white balance, move it over just a little bit. Not too green. Then we're going to make this a bit more blue overall. Pretty cool look we're going for here. Okay, fantastic. That up a little bit. All right, I think we're in a good spot. This is a good spot. Yeah. Play with a couple other shaders here. Do some fine tuning. And I think we will be in a good place. Clarity? Huh? Ooh. I don't mind that. All right, we're going to have a little bit of clarity. That should be all. I feel like I'm missing something. Nope, that's it. All right. Oh, highlights. We can pull those down a little bit. Interesting. Yeah? Okay, cool. We're done. We're done. Fantastic. I hope that this was helpful to you today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely day. Goodbye.